The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
We open up the Carson-Newman baseball position previews with a look at the pitchers and the catchers here with preseason all-conference pick Matt Bradley. I'm Michael Watching for the Eagles Sports Network. And Matt, very experienced pitching staff this year. Let's start with you. You have been through a lot of big games. You've won 3 games against top 10 teams yourself. At the end of last year, you had a sub-4 ERA in your last month and a half of the season. How do you build upon the end of last year as you get ready for this year?
Yeah, so really it's just about consistency and staying healthy. Over the 4 years, I've gained a lot of experience, so there's not much I haven't seen. So it's really just about being the best version of myself I can and, helping the other guys, the new guys, the transfers as much as I can.
You talk about that experience that you have. Well, in terms of how the starting rotation will probably look, Braden Coe's been through it all. You've been through it all. In the bullpen, you have a guy like Tyler Shaver that's seen pretty much everything that it needs to be seen. How does that experience help this year?
Oh, it's huge. Not only with us, being in positions where we're comfortable, in tougher positions. Also just talking to younger guys, the experience we have, it only goes so far if we don't help other people. And I think that Shaver and Coe and other guys on our team have done a great job with helping out the younger guys and the transfers.
Let's talk about Braden Coe for a second because he's coming off of an All-American year last year. What's it mean to you as a part of that starting rotation to know that you have a guy out there that more than likely will start on Fridays that'll give you a chance to win pretty much every single week?
Yeah, he's a stud, and he's been hurt on and off in the fall, but anytime he gets on that mound, he's a bulldog, and you like to think that you're going to win anytime he steps on the mound. And throwing on Saturdays, you'd like to think you're always going to throw with a win under your belt. So
we could name a whole bunch of guys on this rotation because depth is one of the key strengths of this pitching staff this year. When you look at it, you have about 15 different guys that you can probably rely upon to get you at least an innings of solid work. What's that mean for you? Because in your career, it hasn't been the deepest unit, but to have that this year, what's that mean for you?
Yeah, I definitely think that's the biggest difference this year is just the depth of our bullpen. There's a ton of guys that could come in and, you're very confident in that they could get outs. I think that helps the starters, comfortable with coming out of the games, but it also creates a lot of competition amongst the guys because, if you can't do it, someone else can, and that's something different we have this year that we haven't in the past.
We've talked about Tyler Shaver and Jake Wright. They similarly looking, and they produced very well last year as well. To have those two guys that you can lean upon in that bullpen, how important is that for this year?
Oh, it's huge. And, yeah, they're pretty dominant for some smaller guys, but it's huge. You look at Wingate last year, their bullpen was locked down, and that was one of their keys to success. And I just don't think with our group of guys you could find a much better bullpen out there.
You have a very experienced tandem as well that we haven't mentioned, Mason Mooney, Matt Coles. Those two were clutch down the stretch as well, Coles in particular in the conference tournament. To have guys like that provide that depth with the experience that they have on top of you and Coe, how nice and how much of a luxury is that for you?
I think that Mooney and Coles are a coach's dream just because you know what you're going to get every day out of them. Mooney is just as consistent as they come, and really so is Coles. So to be able to throw those guys out there and know what you're going to get and have that bullpen behind them, it's such a luxury.
In terms of newcomers, Hunter Harrington and Tyler D'Amico stand out, but Griff Hughes is coming into his own as well. You have a bunch of options in terms of the younger guys. How are you all using your experience to teach some of those younger guys for their first go-round here at Carson-Newman?
Really just instilling confidence. You mentioned Griff Hughes. He has all the stuff in the world, and it's just about him being confident in himself and trying to, make sure they understand the plays that we run, the bunt plays, and how we do things at Carson-Newman is super important. There's too many guys to name them all, but there's a lot of guys that are super talented in the bullpen.
Going along the battery as well, in terms of the backstops, you have Matt Parkinson and Harrison Travis, two of the more experienced players back there, but also more of the talented hitters as well. What does it mean for this year's team to have two really good options behind the plate, both offensively and defensively?
Oh, it's huge offensively. And Coach Griff, we're never going to have a bad defensive catcher. All of those guys are incredible, and I'd be lucky to throw to any of them. But those guys, when you pitch to them in inter squads and stuff, they're pretty scary. So that's just an added plus there.
Final question for you. Obviously, a lot of experience, a lot of games, a lot of innings thrown for this entire team. What's it going to take for you guys to reach your full potential this year?
I think we have all the pieces in place. I think it's just about going out there and getting it. We can't, let up all year. We want an automatic regional bid. We want to win the SAC championship, and we just have to hold each other accountable. And I really just hope that the pitching staff is more of a strength this year than it has been in the past.
Matt, really appreciate the time. Best of luck this year.
Thank you.
That's Matt Bradley. I'm Michael Watchering here for the Eagle Sports Network.